I posted a video on the 11th of February, so about 4 months ago, and it was saying prepare for September 21 to September 2022. Hey guys, welcome to this channel, which is all about discerning the times that we are living in and reaching the lost with the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm glad you found this video and I'm glad you found this channel. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe so that you don't miss any videos that are released from now. Guys, I feel right now something is stirring. I feel it's been quiet. Prophetically, it's been quiet for some time now, certainly since the beginning of this year. But I really feel stuff is beginning to shake, beginning to rumble. And I had a picture of that recently, and I'm going to share that later on with you. But guys, stuff is stirring. And, I released a video yesterday because I just felt prompted by God to do it on whether Donald Trump could make a comeback. And what I didn't realize was 3 things happened yesterday that were really significant regarding Donald Trump and, the Republicans and the US government. And this is what it was. Number one, with all that's going on in Israel, the media, the mainstream media, or certain parts of it, were looking to Donald Trump for his response to the violence in Israel with Hamas. And that was really interesting because they're the same media that tried to bury him, tried to send him out into political exile, and now they're looking to what he has to say, probably thinking, actually, you were doing something right when you signed the Abrahamic Accords, when you were basically bringing peace in the Middle East between Israel and its neighbours. So that's really interesting. Number 2, Liz Cheney, one of the top US lawmakers in the Republican Party, was fired because of her criticism against Trump and against his election claims. And that was a second significant thing to happen. And thirdly, and this is what I want to talk about now, is 120 or over 120 ex-admirals and generals in the US military penned an open letter to Joe Biden stating certain things, among them being a reaffirming of Donald Trump's claims about the election and questioning Joe Biden's mental and physical health. And, there was other things as well. You can read it. It's out there online for you to read. But what was really interesting is that when I read the article in the Daily Mail, it's a British newspaper, in case you're not aware of it, it said over 120 ex-admirals and generals write an open letter to Joe Biden. And as soon as I saw that, I just saw prophetic significance that it mentioned 120 as we're approaching Pentecost. Guys, there's little things that are just dropped here and there, even in the mainstream media, even in the world's news and events, and you don't want to miss them. Because it's little nuggets just coming down, little prophetic signs that are in the atmosphere that we should pick up. And I really do feel that it was significant. Guys, I believe there's a shift coming. There's a major shift coming. As I said before, it's been quiet, but there's rumblings. There's rumblings. And I had a picture recently of like an earthquake. And the last time I remember having that was late 2019. And obviously 6 months later, or whatever it was, we had COVID. And that was literally an earth-shaking event. But I saw this gush of water just going up, this giant gush of water just bursting out of the earth, going up into the air, up into the atmosphere, even into space, until it was so large that it could cover the earth. And guys, I would like to think that that's the gospel being released, the glory of God covering the earth as the waters cover the sea, as it says in Habakkuk 2:14, I believe it is. But guys, things are shifting right now. And if you look at the news, look at the media, you'll see that things are going on in Israel. Israel is the center of the world in God's eyes, and it all starts in Israel. And if you see what's going on in Israel, you realize that something's coming for the whole earth. I posted a video on the 11th of February, so about 4 months ago. and it was saying prepare for September 21 to September 2022. And what the video was about was the Schmitta, which is a sabbatical year in the Hebrew calendar, that God said that the Jewish people were not to do any work. They were to let the land lie fallow and just let the animals and the poorest people come and just gather what grows naturally in it, and just to give the land a rest. And it was such a significant time in Israeli history, in the Jewish history, because certain events took place at this time. And if the people hadn't been faithful and obedient, often it would lead to judgment. It would lead to some kind of catastrophic event, like the destruction of the temple, which happened on this time during this year. Jerusalem was captured and attacked during this year when the people hadn't been heeding God's voice. And so it's really significant. And in the video that I've posted, and it's got 250,000 views already, it's kind of coming into its own now. But you know, there's other things that I could have added. And looking over last century, it's so interesting what took place on Schmitta years, sabbatical years. 1916 to 17 was such a pivotal year for the nations of the world. Empires literally collapsed, including the Ottoman Empire, and the US began to rise. The UK, Great Britain, it went bankrupt then because of World War I. 1930 to 31, 86% of US stock market was wiped out in one of the worst financial crises in modern history. In 1944 to 45, that's the end of World War II, the US was established as the world superpower. That was a sabbatical year. Isn't this incredible, guys? 1972 to 73 was Roe versus Wade. That was major judgment, major destruction, allowing unborn babies to be killed en masse. And 2001, you know what happened then. 9/11, the Twin Towers fell, and 2008 was one of the worst economic crashes that we've seen in a long time. Guys, we're coming up to the next Schmitta, and it begins this September. This isn't doom and gloom. This is just to warn us. This is just to prepare us to look out for prophetic signs. And I do believe it's going to be significant. I said in the last video that Israel is going to rise up. Look what's happening in Israel right now. It's literally coming to pass. I said it's going to be the center of the world's attention, and it has been ever since the vaccines. It was one of the first nations to just get ahead of this whole COVID thing and implement the vaccination programs. I'm not necessarily it was a good thing, but it was one of the first nations to do that. And now it's embroiled in this unrest, this violence, and who knows what's coming this September. Could it be the Gog-Magog war? Could it be the rebuilding of the third temple? Who knows? Something big is coming though, guys, for Israel and for the world. And I want to ask you, where are you at? Are you in a place of peace with God? Are you ready for what's unfolding? I hope that is something good. I hope that my vision of this water kind of gushing from the earth is worldwide revival, is the proclamation of the gospel. You know, Perry Stone released a video recently, and he said one of the last events to take place before Jesus comes back, according to Matthew 24, is the worldwide proclamation of the gospel. It says in Matthew 24:12, sin will be rampant everywhere and the love of many will grow cold. We're seeing that right now. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come. If the whole world hasn't heard the gospel, guys, there's still time. The end hasn't come. And it's our job to go out and share the gospel. It might be with one or two, it might be with thousands, it might be with hundreds, but whatever you can do, go out and do it. because this is our time. This is the time for the church to rise up in power, not to cower, but to rise up in power and strength and might, in boldness and confidence, and tell the world that Jesus is coming back. And he loves them. He wants people to be saved. He doesn't want people to go into a lost eternity without him, but he wants to gather the nations to himself. You know, if you don't know Jesus today, can I encourage you, exhort you to put your faith in him, to make today the day where you say yes to him. If you've been running away from him, stop running, come back and say yes, surrender, and let him work in your life. Let him pour out his love into your life like you've never known love. Guys, don't panic, don't be alarmed. This is exciting times that we're living in. We are seeing the unfolding of prophetic events on an accelerated scale. Stay in God, stay in prayer, stay watchful, pray for Israel, pray for America, pray for the nations of the world as we navigate this next era and time, in Jesus' name. Bless you guys. Watch out for the next video because it's probably going to be on Israel, and I'll speak to you soon.